I'm going to get some frequencies for the flight.
Cool, make sure they're good.
Oh, totes. Alright, good morning, gentlemen. I'm safe.
I'm safe.
Alright, any human factors, if you have any now, between now and walking, go ahead and bring them up. Otherwise, we'll assume that nobody has any. For the crew day, crew rest, we should be within limits there, as well as within work week limits. Air sickness history, I have none, as well as Signal Lieutenant Kill, no air sickness history there. For the weather, winds for the area are calling 160 at 10, generally. Both here down at Pensacola area and to the north here for NATAOPS. Nothing that's going to keep us out of anywhere. We have the usual at Sherman Field is one runway open there, and then everything normal, nothing to keep us out anywhere here. Bash is moderate for both the area that we're working and the airfields that we plan on working, and no applicable TFRs for our flight plan today. No additional event-specific risks or outside risks. Review of the ATJ, our grade sheet AAA computers, as well as Second Lieutenant Kills is printed out there for your review. At this point, we're just starting the stage, so everything needs to be graded, and we're not in any sort of warm-up window. Current on the region initials, as well as current on the NATAOPS, we'll also make sure we have good pubs in charge for the aircraft as well. For the side numbers today, we have aircraft 089 and 240, so it'll be shooter 089 as a flight. If at any point we have to break up the flight, it'll be shooter 089 and then shooter 240 as individuals. For our TAC call sign today, it'll be MATIS, so MATIS flight for the duration of the flight once we're in the working area. For our flight plan on going VFR up to the Fox area. Once we check in, we'll establish which area we're going to be working. Our primary will be planning on working the Fox 4 South. No PPR, fuel pack are required for today. We'll walk as soon as we're done here. Our planes are ready, and then plan on takeoff and land times in accordance with the walk timeline there. For the EP of the day, fire and flight, the cams for that is going to be PCL ladder, firewall channel pull. If fire is extinguished, forced landing, execute. If fire is not extinguished or forced landing is impractical, eject both. And then if fire is not confirmed, PL, execute. If at any point today, either lead or wing has fire, go ahead and execute the camis. Make sure you have lateral deconfliction as appropriate, and then transmit over the radio once you get a chance to do so, and rearrange the flight as required. For the NATAOPS for the crosswind limits, it's going to be 25 knots. Crosswind there, if it's a wet runway, 10 knots, icy runway, 5 knots, and then tailwind, 10 knots. For the section requirements for crosswind, for a section takeoff, we need no greater than 10 knots. And then the quote of the day, do or do not, there is no try. For communication crew coordination, for the frequencies coming out of here will be just the standard buttons on the way out of here, and then NAVIGs will be on North Whiting for the duration of the flight. For our TAC frequencies, for our primary on UHF, we have 246.8 with a backup of 246.9, and then for Victor, our primary 123.575 with a backup of 136.475. Planning on just using 123.575, our primary and the Victor for the duration of the flight, since we do not have to juggle uniform and Victor TAC frequencies today. For change of control of the aircraft, make sure we're utilizing positive through change of controls. You have controls, you have controls, or vice versa. Making sure we're utilizing controls by any vector, so we know who's flying the aircraft at exactly that time. And then we will not utilize pump to patch or shake to take today for change of controls. For clearing lookout procedures, call which is a high level factor, no factor. Make sure your wingman is apprised of the situation, and then maneuver the flight as accordingly to get to a safe piece of sky. If at any point you need to maneuver as a single, go ahead and do so. Make sure you're aware of your wingman so you're not turning into him. And then if at any point either cockpit can jump on the controls to make sure you avoid any unsafe situation, and then effect the join up using plain language over the radios as applicable once you're in a safe piece of sky. For the conduct of the flight plan again will be going up the VFR to the north to establish in the Fox area. We'll make sure that wingman's in a good parade position, at which point we'll conduct 4 parade turns, 2 in, 2 and 2 away. At that point we'll conduct a cross under, again run through 4 parade turns, conduct another cross under. At that point we'll set up for the BNRs. Once we're complete with 3 BNRs, we'll go ahead and do a lead change. We'll repeat that sequence. Once we repeat that sequence again, we'll be doing the lead change, and then at that point we'll be coming back home via J-course rules. For fuel management today, our joker will be set as we during our fencing call. It's going to be the lowest fuel state plus 400 divided by 2, and our bingo for the flight today is 400 pounds. For our 3710 minimums, we'll make sure that we have enough fuel to go out there, complete our mission, get back to the initial here, and then divert and land with our min fuel there. And then we'll not degrade below 20 minutes worth of flight. If at any point today, the flight, anyone realizes they're going to land with less than 200 pounds, to go ahead and declare minimum fuel. They'll take the lead if they want it. At that point, if it raises to 120 pounds, then it'll be an emergency fuel situation, again taking the lead if they need it there. For the approach and misapproach, our primary plan is we have to shoot an approach here. We break up into singles out in the area and then come back to shoot approaches as singles. We'll brief up any approaches real time in the cockpit there, keeping ourselves apprised of what we're doing and any altitude restrictions on the approach. And then for the misapproach, first climb out instructions, if we receive climb out instructions during the approach, we'll go ahead. Those will take precedence over the misapproach plate from the misapproach instructions from the approach plate. And the non-flying pilot duties will be standard. For mission-specific ORM for forms, for the section lead, Major Payne is the section lead on the flight schedule, so he will have control of the flight for the duration of the day in the event. Going out there, Major Payne and Ensign Road and myself will be the TAC lead. Once we are through the first sequence, we'll pass the TAC lead over to Second Lieutenant Kill and Lieutenant Commander Train. And then once we get back there, the TAC lead, myself and Major Payne will be leading back into North Whiting. For the ground ops, once we figure out where we're parked, and maintenance control will come up with a rendezvous plan. If at any point lead is going to taxi in front of wing, we will just wait there until lead passes him and then pull up behind him. Otherwise, we'll plan on meeting up in the hub area. Once we're established in the run-up area, we'll go through our run-up checks, look each other over, give each other a thumbs up, and then from taxiing out of the run-up area, we'll be executing that staggered taxi by the in-trail on our way out to the run-up area. For our rendezvous plan today, I plan on being a running rendezvous. Once I take my turn, either to 010340, go ahead and get to the inside of the turn to get some angles on me and affect the joint up a little bit faster. Plan on climbing out at 160 knots, you're joined up, at which point we'll accelerate to 108 knots in the climb. Be the running rendezvous there. All admin lead changes will be conducted by IPs today.
Emergencies and crew coordination, aircraft emergencies and system failures. If we have force landing or a PEL type situation going on, the bleeder is going to be the leader. He's going to coordinate with his wingman as required, and the emergency aircraft will assume lead. We will not be doing any simulated PELs or power losses for the first flight block. If we have an actual emergency in flight, pilot controls will execute the critical action items in accordance with the NATAOPS, utilizing crew resource management internally to the cockpit. And at that point, the non-emergency aircraft will fly in trace, no less than 500 feet of separation, with a slight altitude step up as well, assisting as required as lead asks. Board at takeoff criteria: it's going to be blown tire, blown brake, master warning, master caution, command, or the camis will be PCL or brakes as required. And if we depart the prepared surface, it's going to be PCL off, throttle shift, and a pull, versus ground egress as required. We'll be executing a interval takeoff because it's the first flight in the block. We will utilize a sympathetic abort. If lead has to abort, wing will abort with him. However, if wing has to abort, lead will check max PCL, climb in accordance with the FTI. And then once wing has confirmed that lead has got 2 positive rates and his wheels are up in the wheel wells, he will go out over tower and say -0 abort. Likewise, if lead is rolling down the runway and he has to abort, he's going to internally handle the situation, go over tower as required at that point once the aircraft is under control, and say shooter 089 abort. At that point, they'll fall off the tower and clear the active. The toll data is on the board. Wave off is going to be the same criteria for a standard contact profile. The only difference here is if lead has to wave off at any point, there's no reason that wing needs to wave off with them if the runway is safe to land. Engine failure in flight is going to be zoom glide at 125 knots. PCL off. Intercept ELP. Attempted restart. If restart isn't warranted, it's going to be firewall shuffle pull. Forcing rejects. If restart is warranted, it's going to be PCL off. Starter switch auto reset. PCL idle above 13%. N1. Engine instruments monitor. ITT, N1, and oil pressure. If air start is successful, it's going to be PCL as required. Once N1 reaches 67%, PL execute. If air start is unsuccessful, it's going to be PCL off, firewall shuffle, pull. Execute force and again, considerations: engine failure aircraft is going to communicate with his wingman as required and assume lead if he's not already in lead position. Loss of power situation, propeller failure, prop sleep touchdowns with PCL mid-range, PMU off, prop tube circuit breaker pull, MP stabilized at or below 40%. If power is sufficient, PL execute. If power is insufficient, it's going to be prop tube circuit breaker reset. PCL off, firewall shut, and a pull, execute force angle reject. Radio failure in flight. The SOP is determined that there are 3 different situations for radio failure in flight. The first one's going to be outside of the VFR reporting point. If that's the case, and wing goes Nordo, he's going to get a queued as required. pass the I can't talk, I can't hear signal, which is going to be I can't talk, I can't hear, to his wingman. At that point, the IPs will conduct a lead change. The Nordo aircraft will begin checking his cords, cables, transmitting, check his freaks as well if it's determined it's a no joy situation. The IPs will conduct another lead change, and they'll begin trucking in towards the VFR reporting point. Lead will coordinate with ATC as well as with Tower as to the fact that his wingman is Nordo. They'll break in accordance with the FTI, and at this point, Wing is looking for his wingman to either execute a touch and go, wheels on the deck, or touch and go, rather no touch and go, and wave off. Wheels don't touch the deck. If wheels touch the deck, Wing is clear to land. If the wheels do not touch the deck, Lead will resume the downwind with his wingman, or he'll execute the disco as the local SOP dictates. If they're inside the VFR reporting point, and Lead goes Nordo, Lead's going to pass the I can't talk, I can't hear signal to Lead, and lead change at that point will not be conducted. The wingman then begin communicating with Tower as to the situation, and then Lead is looking for the Aldous lamps. If, however, Lead does not see the Aldous lamps, regardless, he's going to visually clear the runway and land. And then his wingman, likewise, will follow him, land as long as Lead is safe to land as well. And then also, if wingman goes lost comms at any point, wingman's going to, again, cue is required, pass the I can't talk, I can't hear signal. At that point, Lead's going to navigate to the break in accordance with the FTI, and Wing now is looking for Lead to either execute a full stop landing, which will clear the wingman to land, or if he executes a wave off, wingman will execute the wave off with his wingman and rejoin on him. The last situation is going to be if we're in a VFR type situation and we have the section mins, which would be 1,003 or at or above circling mins. We'll come back, we'll shoot the section approach. If, however, we do not have the section approach mins here, the good comm aircraft is going to take the bad comm aircraft through the clouds. Once they've descended and they're out of IFR type conditions in their VMC, they'll begin configuring. And now once the runway is in sight, Lead then will kiss off his wingman. He at this point will then get to the 10 o'clock or the 2 o'clock position, and he will begin monitoring his wingman as they come in on final approach. If the wingman lands in full stops, Lead will come back around and land in full stop. Now, difference here. If his wingman does not land for the full stop and instead decides to wave off, Lead will be in position so his wingman can join right back on him, and they can resume the downwind or fly as the situation dictates for that scenario. ICS failure, again, we're not going to pump the pass or shake the take. And more than likely we'll be able to go out over the tack and talk to each other as to our ICS situation, and more than likely it'll be a return to base event. Invert IMC, if at any point we go and invert IMC, the lead aircraft's going to work on getting us out of the situation. If he's unable to, he's going to coordinate either a squawk for the flight or a separate squawk for both of us. If we both have separate squawks, we're going to dissolve the flight and return to base. Down pilot aircraft, we've encountered the down pilot or aircraft situation and it's internal to our form flight. The good aircraft will remain airborne. Notice two good shoots by the down aircraft begin circling, and at that point the IP will assume command duties in accordance with the in-flight guide, set bingo to the nearest civil airfield, and continue circling until one or more capable start aircraft arrives, or two bingo hits. If the down pilot is external to our situation, the section leader, Major Payne, is going to designate who's going to assume command duties at that point in accordance with the in-flight guide, based upon fuel remaining, eyes on the emergency vehicles, as well as eyes on the down pilots on the deck. And at that point, the aircraft that's not immediately in command of the situation can either orient himself above and coordinate communications back and forth, or he can return to base as the section leader dictates. Damaged aircraft, mid-air, and burst strike. If we hit each other in flight and it's severe enough to warrant both of us being OCF and we're below 6,000 feet, which is entirely possible in Fox, we're going to execute immediate ejection. If we hit each other, we're both minimum damage, we're going to separate laterally. lead's going to coordinate for traffic deconfliction, and we're going to return to base, utilizing Pensacola International for their long runway if our damaged aircrafts require that situation. Invert non-controlled flight. It's going to be PCL uncontrolled neutral altitude. Check above 6,000 feet, recover from unusual attitude. CFIS. Two reasons below CFIS. First one's going to be on the deck for emergency grounding grass. And the next one's going to be up at altitude. If we're having to blow our CFIS up at altitude and lead has to do so, he's going to coordinate with wing, let him know the situation. Wing at that point is going to get lateral separation as well as altitude step up on him, and coordinate with going out into attack, saying that they're going to pop the top. Likewise, if wing needs to blow CFIS, he's going to coordinate with lead as well. It won't be as much of a risk factor, but regardless, we're still going to coordinate with each other in that situation. Ejection, two hard decks for ejection, 6,000 feet front of control flight, 2,000 feet for control. Mid-ejection is going to be eject. First call is proper body position. Third call is front cockpit. It's going to pull the handle 1/2 second after the aft cockpit. We're going to observe a good shoot on our way down. We're going to execute the IROC procedures. And upon getting on the deck, we're going to set our URT 140 to blade 406 on time to turn our seat beacon off so it's not going out over guard. If one of us is down and the other is still in the air, we're going to initially talk to each other in 243.0, and then we'll get on a discrete frequency in order to not be going out over guard, talking about how we juice eject. For controlled ejection, two locations, Shopton, Atmore. We'll be right at Atmore, so Atmore will be the controlled ejection location. Aircraft that need to eject will communicate over the tag, say, hey, we're going to do the controlled ejection. At that point, the controlled ejection aircraft will take lead, go to Atmore, internally handle their situation, and once it's determined that they are ready to execute the controlled ejection, they'll execute it again. Three calls, eject. First call is proper body position. Third call is going to be front cockpit, pulls after, half second after the aft cockpit. And there's going to be the same exact procedures coming up and going down. And then during the controlled ejection situation, non-ejection aircraft will fly in trace, being aware of the fact that at any point the controlled ejection aircraft can eject. So maintaining again lateral separation and altitude step up assisting as required. Loss of ICS situation for immediate ejection is going to be 3 wraps on the canopy. First wrap proper position, and third wrap half second after the rear cockpit pulls. Same procedures coming up and going down. For controlled ejection, we're going to do 3 face current pulls, 1, 2, 3 to our wingman, let him know the situation. We'll assume lead IPs will conduct that lead change. We'll go to the ejection location. As soon as we're internally squared away, it's going to be 3 wraps on the canopy. First wrap's going to be proper body position. Third wrap's going to be pull half second after the aft. Same procedures going up and coming down on the deck. Form specific, so unsafe gear indications prior to or after takeoff. The unsafe gear aircraft is going to let his wingman know his unsafe gear indications. He's going to coordinate with ATC as required at that point. They're going to be at a minimum altitude of 2,000 feet for this gear inspection. Wingman's going to get real tight on him, let him know his situation, and then the unsafe gear is going to comply with ATC as required at that point. Blind rendezvous plan. So while we're out in the Fox and we're doing our parade turns, at any point we go blind. A wing is going to lag, lead's last known position. He's going to call Mattis to blind altitude. At that point, lead's going to look to get visual on wingman. If he has visual, he's then going to begin talking him back onto him via the clock method, high, level, and low. They're going to execute a rejoin. If the same situation happens, they're both in the parade turn, and wing goes blind, he's going to call out blind. Lead's going to look. If he doesn't have visual, lead's going to call blind as well. They're going to separate laterally, and then the highest aircraft then will begin his climb 500 feet above the designated altitude, with the lowest altitude more than likely being wing. He'll descend 500 feet below, with no less than 1,000 feet of altitude separation. And then lead will begin his 30-degree angle bank turn for 200 knots. For 1 point over the deck, communicate to wing at that point, and then coordinate a rendezvous as required. Lost sight. A couple situations for lost sight. First one, if at any point wing goes lost sight, he's going to maintain a full instrument scan and begin aviating the aircraft as required. If we're straight and level, and wing goes lost sight, he's immediately going to separate 30 degrees heading change for no less than 30 seconds, and at that point lead's going to call out his heading and his altitude. At the end of 30 seconds, wing's going to come back parallel headings, and then lead's going to conduct a rejoin or coordinate separate squawks as required. If in a turn and lost sight gets called out, the outside aircraft will roll wings level, transmit his heading and his altitude. The inside aircraft will continue his turn to the assigned heading. At the end of 30 seconds, the outside aircraft will parallel the inside aircraft's heading, and lead will then coordinate a rejoin or coordinate for separate squawks as required. If in a climb, wings immediately going to level off and transmit his altitude, and leads can continue to climb to the assigned altitude at that point, coordinating separate squawks or a rejoin, and then they'll follow on either with the turning SOP or with the straight level SOP. And also, if they're in a descent, wings immediately going to level off, call it his altitude, leads can continue to descend below. Once it's confirmed that they have no less than 500 feet altitude separation, lead then will conduct a rejoin or separate squawks as required. We're inside the final approach fix, and wing goes left sight. He's going to immediately separate laterally. Once it's guaranteed that he's lateral separation, that's going to be one dot off of the final approach indicator on the PFD. He's then going to climb to the final approach fix altitude, proceed towards the missed approach point no lower than that altitude, and then either execute the missed approach procedure or coordinate with ATC as required. Meanwhile, lead's going to continue down on the final approach course and land in accordance with the approach that they're flying. GX and tail chase is not applicable for this flight, and knock it off will be called for any unsafe activities up there, and then terminate will be once the syllabus is complete. DOR TTO policy is in effect, and the discussion on them are on the board.